and you're coming on. So thank you for joining on Facebook and YouTube. So let's have a word of prayer. Heavenly Father, we thank you and praise you for the opportunity of knowing that you are an amazing God, that you call us to serve in so many different ways. And I pray, Father, that you would give me words that you would have for me to speak, to be able to share with others, to let them know about the things that you're doing in each of our lives and how we're growing. We thank you, Father, for your love and mercy, and I thank you for this opportunity to share. I pray this in Jesus' name. Amen. So I've been on a 3-month mission trip to Kenya and Eldoret and a few other places in that area. Then I went for 2.5 months to the Philippines, and then just recently I was on a trip in Kenya again for 3 weeks where I had a team. Usually I have a team that goes with me, but this time for those 5.5 months I did not have a team. But God was good in the Philippines that He did bring a few people to help me at some of the places that I went to. So let's talk about Kenya. I was there for 3 months, February, March, and April. We did three trainings, and it was at 3 different locations. But the one that was the longest for February, March, and April was at our Seventh-day Adventist resort there in Eldoret. Now, Eldoret in Kenya, that city is known for the city of champions. Why is that? Because there's a lot of runners, and the man that runs the fastest marathon can do it under 2 hours, and he lives right there in Eldoret. And so you'll see this globe on one of the main roads there. So I thought that was kind of cool because it says the city of champions. And so when we did these trainings, the first one that we started out with, as soon as I got there, I was pretty much already giving a health lecture and training. It was three months. It was February, March, and April, but it was only the weekends. It was Friday, Saturday, Sunday, sometimes on Thursdays. So we did that for those 3 months, and that group was like 100 and some. And so it was pretty amazing. This is one day. This picture here was when I was sharing with them how to do massages, and it was this was just the ladies. We were in one room, and so they all kind of, when we were all done, and I was telling them some stuff. I said, let's just take a picture. So that was a picture of us. But it was amazing. Every weekend we pretty much went different places. But some weekends we really didn't do as much as I thought we would have. But this training, this is some of the people here that you can see that was part of that training. We had to have a interpreter, and I was very thankful that we got a medical interpreter, a medical doctor that was able to interpret, because we had a lot of medical terms for some of the stuff. But I tried to keep it as simple as possible. And then on the day that we had our graduation with them, we had over 65 people that graduated that came every single month. And you have to understand, some of these people traveled very far just to get to that location and to spend that time there. So for them, it probably was very costly. And but I was very, very appreciative for them, and I got to know quite a few of them. And yeah, they're in my heart. And so with that education that we gave them, we were hoping that when they would go back home, that they would utilize the stuff that we shared with them, so when they come back the next month, they could add to that. It's kind of like having a toolbox, and then now you're starting to put tools in it, and when you go home, then you're going to apply those tools to whatever area. So this happened on a Sunday, and not too many people knew about it because they just got the news like on Sunday. But at any rate, during that time that I was there for those 3 months, I counseled with more than 200 people, and I also gave over 175 treatments. So if you take that per day, that's about 3 people a day. But the doctors see a lot of people. I mean, they see over 50 people a day, and they're swamped. But I did get an opportunity to go to one of the hospitals with a friend of mine that works at the hospital, and I didn't put that picture in there, so I'll just share it now. And we went to the hospital and we were visiting people. Well, she's in oncology, hematology, and so a lot of stuff, a lot of medication, a lot of stuff. And one of the last people, I said, it would be really good. You should just give them a cassava poultice. And she's like, what? And I said, that was one of the things we were doing as well, because one of the trainings that we had was with the medical professionals, and she was one of them. And so we never really got into some of those things of how to treat people with different things, because everybody's looking for a protocol. Everybody wants a protocol. And I'm like, no, we can't have cookie cutters, because protocols can only do so much, and you're going to miss out what the real root cause is. So we try to stay away from protocols as much as possible, but sometimes they come in handy to kind of help them in the first few things, and then adding on to those protocols according to whatever is unique about the person. But at any rate, these are some of the people that I treated. The girl over there on the side over there, she's one of the young ladies that works at the guest house where I stayed, because that's where we saw a lot of people, is at the guest house. And so she interpreted for me. And then some of the other ones worked with me, as well as making sure that if I needed something, like if I needed some cassava, they would make sure that they got it for me. And so, or castor oil or something. But a lot of times I would go out, or the guy that was working with me, we would just go to the store and would buy these things. But yeah, so they helped a lot. So this here again is some more people that I consulted with. There was a lady that came in. She had stomach cancer, and she had gone through everything. She'd gone through chemotherapy. She went through surgery. She went through chemotherapy again, and she was like really looking sick. And when she got to me, she had already been throwing up for like 3 weeks. And when that happens, it doesn't seem like it's going to be much longer. And basically what the doctors told her was, oh, just come back for some more chemotherapy. And she decided no. And so when she found out that I was there, she decided, okay, well, I'm going to come. That very first treatment, you're probably thinking, well, what did you do? Well, I prayed. I always have to pray, because you just like, Lord, what do you want me to do? What can I do that can be the quickest? And what do I have available that will help? So cassava poultice with heat and some castor oil. So I rubbed the castor oil. Well, I had to put it in the cassava, because in Kenya, it's very, very dry. And I think it's because when they get it and they bring it to the city, it's a period of time that it gets there. And I think that's why it's probably dry. In the Philippines, it's really wet, because they just go over here and they say, oh, here it is, and they cut it and they get it right there from the plant and they give it to you, so it's very wet. So the freshness makes a difference. But anyway, she came in and I did the simple treatment for her. And even though she was throwing up a lot, but she didn't really do it during the time that she was there. But after that first treatment, when she got up, she looked better. I mean, it was amazing. Like, it was like you could tell a difference. You know how people, when I used to give treatments here, I would give them a little treatment and they'd be like, and then after I'm done, they're like, because they're happy. And so it was kind of like that. And her family that was there, they were like amazed too that she was feeling better. And so she came a few days during the week. And, because that was a delicate situation. And then I did have her take some medicine that I wanted her to get. And as long as she could get it down, I really believed that that would help her. And so the next day after they got the medicine and all of that, I asked how it went. And they said, yeah, she was able to keep it down. We didn't see any of it come up when she threw up. So I'm like, she's going to be okay. But I think she was very dehydrated. And so we have to be very careful when people are dehydrated, because they need hydration. If you don't have hydration, that's a real killer too, right? Because you're very tired, you don't have much energy and stuff like that. So if she's not able to keep water down, how is she going to be hydrated? So I think she ended up going to the hospital to get, to get hydrated. So that was kind of an interesting person. And the lady that's down in the bottom corner there, Eunice is her name. She was one of the ladies that went through our training. And one Sabbath when I was preaching at the guest house, the Adventist Resort guest house, apparently she wasn't feeling good. And so the guy that was with me, he was called to help her. And she's like, she's like, I'm dying. I just know I'm dying. And she's just like falling out and everything. And so he's like, well, let's just, you're probably having a heart attack. So let's just put some cayenne pepper on your tongue. And then things got really crazy. And I don't know if her blood pressure went crazy and everything too. So that's what he thought was wrong with her. And so then I decided, well, after I got done speaking, and I sat down, this lady come to me and says, Dr. Juile, you got to come. The lady's sick. Oh, you got to take care of it. And I'm thinking, okay, so then when I went to where she was, I'm like, well, I saw my friend and he was there. And I'm like, okay, he's taking care of this. But ended up that she was just feeling like, I'm dying. And I'm like, no, you're not. Let's pray. You're going to be okay. So I ended up saying, there's nothing I have on me because I don't have any of my stuff. It's all back at the guest house where I'm staying. So the one lady said, oh, don't worry, I'll find transportation. So she found somebody that had a car. And so we went back over to the place where I was staying. And I asked them, I said, can we just get a room for her to be in, because we usually use a room every so often when I have to do any assessments. And so we put her in there, and I'm thinking, she probably has like a bunch of things going on. So I'm like thinking, okay, so she's probably dehydrated. Her glucose is probably low. So anyway, I'm checking her and, with her glucose levels and everything. And I ended up, it was like God said, just go get some water, put some honey in there and put some salt in there, mix it up and give her to take. So I gave it to her. She drank it. And within 5 minutes, she jumped up and she goes, oh, I feel really good. And I said, take it easy. You're going to need another one of these in probably a little bit. And so I gave her another one, and then I brought some other stuff. And then I said, when we got back, I said, take this in another few hours, just to make sure that you're okay. And so she did really well. So I'm thankful that God has a way of telling us what to do, right? And so I'm very thankful for that. Now the guy over on the bottom here with the fruits behind his head, he had a stand not too far from where we stayed at our guest house. And so I would go there, and the other guy that was with me, he would go there from time to time and would buy from him. And so the last time I went, I said, hey, let's go there and buy some stuff because I wanted to see him. So anyway, it was really good because it's opportunity to meet your neighbors, right? It's opportunity to get out and witness and stuff like that. And so the guy had been really, really nice to us, and he gave us good deals. And so I was very thankful for that. And then I found out not too far from where he was at was a place where they, like a little restaurant type thing, just a little tiny place where you just come in and you get your food and you can eat and whatever. I found out that it was Seventh-day Adventists that owned it. So I remember once I was working so hard, I had, I don't know how many people that I saw, and I was giving them treatments, and I'm like, I'm starving. Like, hey guys, can you guys just kind of like give me some food? And they just kind of looked at me and looked at each other like, what? And I'm like, come on now, you guys are, they're paying for this. There has to be some money. Can you just give me some food? I said, just some beans and avocado and some chapatis. I'm good with that. So anyway, they went and they ordered that, and I was just like, that was good. But it was at one of the places. Now the conference office is a beautiful building. That's this building here. It's the Greater Rift Valley Conference. And we were there for 1 week to do morning worships. And so the guy that was with me, he did Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and I did Tuesdays and Thursdays. And so when I came in on Tuesday, I met the conference president, and he goes, do you have like some information that I can do like a bio for you so I can introduce you? And I'm like, yeah. So I just kind of gave him like a copy of my thing off of Facebook. And so when he got up there, you have to understand, education is very important, right? Education is very important. And being a woman is, may not be as great as being a man, so to speak. Well, anyway, so as soon as he got up there and he started saying all these accolades about me, the people just stood up in their chair, they, instead of slouching or whatever, they stood up with attention. And I'm like, that's interesting. What's going on? I didn't know. And so then when I started sharing some stuff, they're like, wow, can you come tomorrow and share the next part of what you're going to talk? I said, no, tomorrow my friend's going to come because that's Wednesday. I'll give it to you on Thursday. And so they're like, okay, we can't wait. So on Thursday, the president was not there for that morning worship. And my morning worship was called, Are You an Asset or a Liability? And that's perfect because people that are in administration, right? It's about business. So assets and liabilities. And they're thinking, where is she going with this? I thought she's going to share the 15 laws of health. And I did. But through that, it was, are you an asset or are you a liability? So when the president came in that day, they were asking him, hey, president, are you an asset or are you a liability? So they were asking each other, well, am I really an asset or a liability? And so it became a big thing for that whole rest of the week. But yeah, so it was pretty awesome. And that's the reason why I went back to Kenya, is because I had a good relationship with the people from the conference. And so that's when I took my team there just a few weeks ago. All right, so we went to a number of places. And for one Sabbath, we went to the church that was out in the country. I really liked it. The kids were awesome. And this is the church that the conference president, that's his home church. Like, that's where he kind of grew up, I think. And so we went to that church. We did a health talk, and I preached, and we were helping with them with that. So, again, more counseling, more treatments. This lady, you see the legs? At first I thought it was elephant leg. And she had seen the other person that was with me, and he told her some things that she could do. And I didn't realize that she already went to him, but she was asking me some stuff, and I was sharing with her what she could do. She had a lot of blood clots. So you have to be very careful what you do for those blood clots, because if you're putting heat on there, that's not a good thing. If you're putting cold on there, that might be okay, but you better be very careful when it's a DVT, because that's like a serious situation. So anyway, yeah, that was like one of them. And I basically did something with lavender oil, and I put it all over because she was having so much pain, and it really helped with the pain that she had. Some of the other people that you see here, the lady in the bottom, there was a lot of thyroid issues. And so it seemed like it was always a lot of thyroid situations, because you would see it, right? And so that lady, she has a poultice on her throat there because of the goiter, and that was a big thing. Made a charcoal poultice, used some flaxseed, put it there, and said, okay, at night make sure you do this, plus make sure you suck on some charcoal in the evening as you go to sleep, so then that way as you're sleeping, just a little bit by little bit, it's going there to help with that goiter. And then, of course, lifestyle, certain things to eat, certain things not to eat. And so, yeah, I can't remember everybody's issue, but I know the one up on top with the little kid. Actually, that lady had an issue, her child had an issue, and then someone else in her family had an issue. And so I was kind of consulting with each situation that they had. Then we went to a place called Kitale in Kenya there for one weekend training. We found out that these guys had already gone through like a whole big training for one whole year during COVID. So we're thinking, okay, we're going to go there for a weekend. They probably already know how to do all these things. But ended up, they didn't really know. They didn't really know how to do some of these things. And I'm like, oh no, this is not good. And so we had to go through some of those things like hydrotherapy and different things, but most of our talks were on bigger things like cancer and high blood pressure and stuff like that, or how to prevent things. So that was our little part of our graduating ceremony. And then, that was Saturday. And then on Sunday, we went to a church called AIC, which is African Inland Church. And so in Africa, they have many of these churches. And so on Sunday, we went to their church because one of the guys from that Kitale Adventist church, he is friends with people at this church, which is just not far from where that church is. So we got the opportunity to go there, give a short little sermon, and health talks. And I'll tell you what, Sunday, I didn't want to eat any food, and the reason why was because we ate like 4 or 5 times. we had breakfast. Then we went to this church, and they fed us. And you got to take something because you're guests. And of course, it was great because they had ugali. And so you're wondering, what is ugali? That is like one of the main dishes that they eat there in Kenya. And it's made out of maize, which is corn, the big corn, right? And the one guy, he always said, oh, you got to stir it up like this. You got to have, that's how you get your muscle. Anyway, so we had some there and some beans. And then we went to the man's house that knew the people. We went to their house, and they had a huge spread of food. And so then we ate again. Then we went to, I think I got it here. Then we went to Mrs. Rono's family's place because they lived not too far. And this is her mother. She's like 96, 97. And she kept telling Mrs. Rono, when is, how do you say white person or Mungul? Mazungu? Yeah, Mazungu. When is the Mazungu going to come? Because when Mazungu comes, I know that I'm going to feel better. All she has to do is give me a massage, and I'm going to feel really good. All she has to do is just touch me, and I know I'm going to be healed. So her mother kept saying, when are you bringing her? When are you bringing her? Because you have to understand, this is like April. So this is like towards the end of our time there in Kenya, and we've already been there for 2 months. So here we come. And I got the opportunity to give her a massage, and when she got her clothes back on and she walked out, she's like feeling good, and she gave me a name. I think it was like bronze. It means bronzen, or is bronzen? Is that familiar? Bronzen, something to do with gathering the cattle, and it's a really good thing to gather. If you're gathering the cattle, that means you're rich. That means that you have a lot, or something like that. I forget how you say it, but I think it was bronzen or something like that. So she gave me that name. That was my Kenyan name. But I also had another name too, because I was born in the evening, and it was, didn't practice. Yeah, Chipkin Boy. Yeah, there's my name. So anyway, so I had another name too. So again, we saw a lot of people at the guest house where we were. I have like tons of pictures, but I had a really hard time putting them on. And I just like looking at pictures, and people come from far. Some people came from far. I mean, we had a lady that came like 10 hours away. And if I would have known that their situation was they didn't have very much money, because I took them to the restaurant and said, hey, maybe you should eat here, blah, blah, blah. And the only thing that they got was what most people eat in the morning, which is a cup of tea and some bread. And when I saw that that's all they got, I'm like, well, that's kind of strange. So when we left, I said, aren't you guys hungry? And they said, yeah. And I said, well, why did you just order that? Because we don't have the money. Now, if I would have known that, I would have said, just put it on my tab, and I would have paid for it. So what ended up happening was when we got back to the guest house, I went ahead and I made some food. So that way they would have something to eat. So the next training we did, so that was the second training. The third training that we did was Zoom calls or Zoom meetings every morning at like 5:30 or 6 o'clock in the morning, and then in the evening at about 7 or so in the evening. I can't remember the time. So it was early in the morning, it was late in the evening, and we did these Zoom talks for medical stuff, for all the medical professionals. I think there was about 80 to 100 that were in our WhatsApp group. And so one night, when it was my turn, the electricity went off in that whole area where we were staying. And I'm just like, oh God, what am I going to do? Like, I'm going to have the meeting tonight, and I don't know how I'm going to present because we're on Zoom. And then what does that mean? When electricity goes off, that means you have no internet, right? And so I prayed about it, and God said, look, you have a cell phone, and you have unlimited whatever on there. And I said, okay. What's that? Data. Yeah, data. So I ended up putting up my computer with my slides, and I put my phone right up there so they could see the slides as I was talking. Now, they said it wasn't all that great, but they could see. And I'm like, well, I'm just going to give glory to God, because I was able to get on, and I was able to at least give them something and share with them. So I was thankful that God was able to help me in that, because I'm like, what am I going to do? And I'm thankful that it was me instead of the other person that had this issue, because I'm younger. That is true. But anyway, so one day we came together to the church, and we had a one-day training that was hands-on for the medical professionals. So they came to the church, and we got together, and we did a bunch of talks with hands-on stuff. So we did chair massage. I wasn't there for that, so those pictures are not really real. Because I went over to the Lifestyle Center because this lady, she's from Canada, and she was going around for like so many weeks, going different places all over Kenya, and she was given 1-week seminars, and she had a group of people. There was like 6 with her. And one of the girls that was on her team was one of the Filipino girls that I had trained when I was in the Philippines from October, November, December recently, and she was on the team helping with the children. And so that was pretty cool. So she ended up coming, and I was able to give her a treatment, making sure that her throat was good, because her throat really got bad. Because that's what happens when you speak all the time for hours, right? And teachers know it too. So this is the church that we went to most of the time. This was the Sabbath school. It's an Eldoret church. And we also had ambassadors, which is for the youth. And so they asked me if I would help with that, and I said, sure. And so I had gone to the conference office, and I got these big banners for New Start. And the guy that keeps up the facility, like the grounds and all that for the church, he helped me put them up inside the church. And then when the young people came and it was my turn to talk about health, I was able to take them through those stations and to talk about whatever else they wanted to talk about. So this was the first place. And these were special guests. The girl in the middle, that is Charity. That's the young girl that came for health consult, because when her mother and her had gone to the doctor was not there. But someone from our first training saw them. I think it was a pastor. He saw them and said, hey, go to the guest house. Go to the Bloom's guest house. Dr. Julie's there. Go see her. And so they did. And so I was able to consult with her and also give her some treatment. And ended up that she's 14 years old. And I said to her, well, what kind of things are you eating? What's going on? And I find out a few things. And then I said to her, I said, are you guys Friday, Saturday, or Sunday keepers? And the mother bends over and she goes, we're Seventh-day Adventist. And I said, oh, okay. So I said, okay. So I said to the little girl, I said, are you baptized? She said, no. I said, would you like to have Bible studies? She goes, yeah. Would you like to get baptized? She goes, yeah. I said, would you like to have Bible studies with me? And she goes, yeah. She really lit up. And so I said, okay, this is what we're going to do. We're going to have Bible studies. So we ended up having not Zoom. We were having Bible studies over WhatsApp, right? So that was our communication. And then on Sundays, where we didn't have to do very much, she came over for like 4 or 5 hours, and we had Bible study during that time and also during the week. And then I said to myself, we're pretty much done with everything that we need to cover. So I said to her, you know what? We need to pick a date for you to get baptized before I leave. So it was the last Friday before I left that she got baptized. And so the little friend that's with her asked her questions. And so she was sharing with her friend about the Bible, about God, and about all of that. So that's how this girl ended up coming to the ambassador thing. And so I said, you should come to the other one, because I'm going to be going to another one that I'm going to be helping out with. And so this was the first part of the week, and then the last part of the week was at another place. This is the scarf that they gave out. They actually gave me one. And this is for the ambassadors. That's for young people that are between the ages of like 15 to 20 or something like that. And what's interesting is when I went to that one, it was at another church. I don't even know the name of the church. All I know is that they were under construction and they were building something, and they had this other part. Well, from that point, there was the pastor of that church. I met him this last time I came to Kenya, which is important because his sons were in that ambassador group. So that's how they made the connection with me. And so ask me about that when I get to the end. Because when we were doing stuff at the guest house where we were at. But anyway, yeah. And so this is some of the young people. and I'm just sharing stories with them, hey, what's real life like? Like when you're in a certain situation. And so the other lady, I also put that on a video somewhere. The other lady, she was awesome. Caroline was her name. And she had a little song that she was counting, because it sounded like the numbers, right? And it was really cool. And but anyway, it was something that kind of helped them with whatever, because I don't remember what the song was about. All I know is it was counting. And it was probably sharing with them how, important it is to have that relationship with God. And so it was really fun to work with them. And sometimes, when you're working with young people that age, you kind of wonder, are they really listening? Are they really getting anything out of it? Did I really make a difference? And I knew that if I went there, also, they fed you. So I was happy for that too, to be able to eat with them and to kind of associate with them and get to know the young people and the other people that you're working with. So that was kind of good. So on that Sabbath, that's Caroline on the bottom there to the left. And then the girl in the middle, that's Abby, and she works for Hope Channel. And she lives in Nairobi. And then the other girl on the right, her name is Caroline as well. I don't really know her that much, but she, I guess, was helping with some of the youth as well. And the guy on top is a head of youth ministries. And so he spoke. That's us sitting on the platform. And I said, hey, let's get a quick picture. And afterwards, after we were all done, it was a really awesome Sabbath with all those kids and all the things that they did and the things that were presented there. That was really good. And then afterwards, when you're done with church, which I thought was really cool, this is what they did, Pastor. They after you were done from the platform, you would go into this little room and you'd have prayer, and then you would go out and meet the people. And I thought that was pretty interesting. I thought that was pretty neat. And so when we got in that little room to meet, he said, I have some health issues that I need some help with. Do you think you could help me? And I said, sure. And I mean, they weren't really, they didn't seem like they were that hard. But anyway, yeah, so we had some little time together there. And then after I was done with that, I went to another church, which was a big church that wasn't very far. And we did a health talk there. This is the place where we ate a number of times, quite a few times. Better Health Restaurant. It's an Adventist restaurant, and it's also with the, is it Eastern Africa Adventist University? Yeah? Okay. And so that was pretty cool because they would have these big buses that say that on the side, and they would be there from time to time. And I don't know, I want to think that they utilize some of those young people to help at the restaurant. So that was good. And Naomi, here's some of your family. On the right top, this was when we went to the church there. Now, that was another awesome church. I like the country churches a lot because it just seems like you're connected more. And so that's her dad. Yeah. And then down below, that's her sister. And then on the other side, you'll see like her grandma, her dad. I believe that's your mom, the far left there. And some nephews and some great nieces maybe. Yeah. I got a few more pictures, but I couldn't really put them all on there. But those were, that was good. It was really fun. And you have to understand now, this Sabbath, it was raining and it was pouring. So I was glad we were at their house. My friend decided he didn't want to go. He was going to fast. And some girl had the nerve to come up to me and said, oh, are you fasting too? And I said, no, why? Because your friend is fasting. I think she thought he was my husband. And I said, no, I'm not going to fast because I'm invited to go to someone's house and I really need to go to their house. I mean, like this was like an event that was a long time ago that I needed to go to their house. And I'm like, no, I'm going to the house. And so she's like, oh. And I'm like, but if you want to fast, you can. I mean, there's nothing wrong with fasting, and I think that that's a good thing to do. But no, I'm not prepared for that. But it was a good thing that my friend stayed there because it rained, it poured, and so we were delayed. And most of the churches, they cook big pots of food. So afterwards, when you're done with church, you ain't going nowhere. You're going to stay there and you're going to eat. So anyway, we went to their house and got to get to know the family, and it was great. They even gave me a nice little gift. That's where they put the milk in, and you do something with charcoal. And so anyway, I don't remember all of it, but yeah, so I got one of those containers from them, and it was really cool because they were singing and everything, so it was pretty awesome. And then before I left in April, my birthday's in April, and two of the ladies also had birthdays, the 26th, the 27th, the 27th, and no, the 26th and the 28th. Mine was on the 28th too. And so that Saturday before, they said, hey, or 2 Saturdays before, they said, hey, because what they do after church at the Eldoret Sabbath School Church is they have these tents outside that are set up for the kids for in the morning when they have Sabbath school, and then the adults are inside the church part. Well, after they get done with church, one group of men are in a circle and they're doing their talks, like they're talking their men stuff. And then on the other side, they have the women in a circle, and the women are doing their women talk for church stuff and whatnot, right? And so the very first time, I didn't realize that's how it was because I was in the men's circle. And I was talking to the men because they had invited me to the men's circle. So then I realized, oh, well, this is interesting. But the women said, oh, come here, Dr. Julie, come here. We haven't been able to talk to you. Tell us some stuff about women health. So I ended up telling them about women health and sharing with them about women health. And then they found out my birthday was in April, and they said, oh, well, so was mine, Helen said. And then Beatrice says, oh, well, mine is too. And I'm like, oh, well, we should do something on that last Sunday before you leave. So this is what they did. They rented out the, like this place is expensive. Only the elite people go to this place. They have a golf course. They have a place to work out. They have, I don't know, do they have horseback riding? I don't know. They have a lot of stuff. And so they had this event, and I didn't realize how big this was going to be. Oh, we got to get dressed up for it. I'm like, dressed up? Yeah, don't wear your Sabbath thing. We're going to get dressed up. So Beatrice came over. She picks me up like an hour before the event, takes me to this place, and we're trying on all these, like when you're in a wedding, those big wedding gown stuff, like you're in, or you're going on a ship for ship shape, really like those gowns. So we go to this place and we're trying on these gowns and they're just not fitting right. And I'm like, oh my goodness, this is ridiculous. So then finally I found some, but I was like, oh, I don't know. But anyway, it was the only thing that fit. So we left, and Beatrice paid for mine and hers, and then we went, and we were like late. We're like really late at this time. And so we get there and they start taking these photographs like we're like, models or something. And it was like a big thing. It was like a big event. And then they had catered the food there, and I'm like, oh, wow, this is great. And then I said, is that real meat? Yeah, that's meat. I said, oh, okay, thank you. and then I said, okay, so now I know what I can eat. So anyway, I sat down and I enjoyed the company of each person there. And I went around, I got a picture with everybody. And then the birthday girls, we all stood up and gave a talk about Thanksgiving or whatever it is that we had on our heart that we wanted to share with one another. And so it was really nice. I really appreciate each and every one of these ladies. And you have to understand that church that they're from has I don't know, I want to think that there was 4 or 5 medical professionals right there. And so I'm like, wow. And just beautiful women. So it was a very nice time. So then after we got done there and we left, we went to the Rift Valley. Now, this is huge, and I didn't put any pictures in there, but it was pretty amazing. And then we went to the zoo place or whatever, and we saw some animals and different things, and we even saw some, what are those monkeys called that are on the side of the road? Yeah, the baboons, yeah. They're like, close the window, don't throw out any food because they might just try to grab it out of your hand as we're going by. Yeah, it's crazy. So anyway, so we're like, okay, but all along the way, they're showing us different points, and it was really neat. So then we get to the Union Conference office place, and we stay there. And what's that? We stayed there. And so on their campus, they have all these things that are all part of that campus. And so we got to stay there and for one night because our flights were the next evening or something. So yeah, that was really nice to be able to see. And they have a really cool church there and a school too. All right, so that's my phase 1 for Kenya for those first 3 months. And I'm very, very thankful. Thank you guys at Kenya for all the experiences. And I just pray that each person that had gotten any treatments or consulting, I pray that you are having health and experiencing health today, that you can give glory and praise to God because He truly is the healer. So then I came home for about maybe a week or 2, I don't remember. And then I went to the Philippines. My first place that I went to was Willow Farm. Now you have to understand, part of my team, Shakosha, if you're watching, she's the one who said, Dr. Julie, instead of just going to one place, why don't you just go to many places? So then that way that one round trip ticket can be well spent. And so she's the one who organized my whole trip to the Philippines. So Willow Farm, I was familiar with Willow Farms, and so we did a 10-day health session. And in that session, the main people that came were literature evangelists. And probably the reason why was because right after that event was a literature evangelist event. And the man that's from the conference office that's ahead of that department, he decided, why not utilize them? So what ended up happening was they had this event there, and who do you think came? Hope Channel. Hope Channel came, and when the girl came in, I'm like, I wasn't even thinking Hope. When the girl came in that Sabbath, I'm thinking, I know her. Like, I met her. I spoke to her. I know her. Well, I did know her. I just forgot her name. Well, she sat down, and then afterwards I said to her, I know you. And I said, I saw you somewhere. She said, yes. As soon as I walked in, I knew you too. And where we met was at the conference office in what's the head place in the Philippines? Manila. So in Manila, at the conference office there is where I met her because there was a bunch of people that work for Hope all over the area of the Philippines. And she had come down when I came out and around, and I just started talking to her like, well, who are you guys? What are you guys doing? Blah, blah, blah. And so we had a really good conversation, and she said, we're managers for Hope Channel, all different areas, and so we're doing some stuff together and, kind of working some stuff out or whatever. So anyway, what was pretty interesting was that here she is working for this area. And so that was kind of neat. So what they ended up doing is they put me on for like a thing for like during the week for an encouragement and then another thing for motivational, inspirational, and then they put me on because of Willow Farm and some stuff with the conference that they were having. So when we were there, Willow Farm means wellness, health, education, evangelism, lifestyle changing, organic farm. And they have like a lot of land. And so we're getting a lot of fresh fruits and vegetables from their place. So we did a 3-day session for liver and kidney flush, and then for the rest of the week was changing their diet. So the people that we saw there, they had gut issues, they had high blood pressure, a bunch of them had sleeping issues, and I think there was someone that had maybe hemorrhoids. But one thing that stands out too, was this the time? No, that was last time. Okay. So anyway, we ended up going to some places because they're like, oh, let's do something. And I said, yeah, that's a good idea. Just take one day and just kind of do something together. And so we went on an outing to this falls. You have to understand that this is so cold. The water is so cold. Like you're freezing. So this one guy, he's like leading us out, and I'm like, oh, this is where we're supposed to go to the strawberry patch thing, because it was somebody that was Adventist that owned it. And you could tell it was because they said we're not open on Saturdays, the seventh day, Sabbath, And so I'm like, well, we're supposed to go that way. And I drove in the Philippines. Wow. Well, do you realize last time I went to the Philippines, I drove a motorbike downtown. You know how they drive in the Philippines? I don't know if you've been there or not, but it's pretty crazy. Crazier than Eldoret. Let me tell you, it's worse than Eldoret. But anyway, where we went was out in the country. It was nice road. It was no problem until the car broke down. And it wasn't good because it was wet. And apparently I went in a mud puddle and this guy got wet and he was all upset. And so when they saw our vehicle was on the side of the road, he came and started taking pictures and all mad and everything. I'm like, oh my goodness, like I didn't mean to get you guys wet. That was the last thing in my mind. You guys should have pulled over further. I don't know. Like we're supposed to stop behind you when we're going up a hill. I don't think so. And so anyway, these other guys, they said, oh yeah, you need this or that or whatever. They operate these big machines, and they're like, oh yeah, well you're probably out of oil or something, or maybe you just need whatever. And we're like, okay, whatever. And then we just prayed, God, you got to start the car because we don't have any oil to put in it right now. And they're saying, oh, just go this other route, and go to the whatever city. So we drove for I don't know how long, and then it stopped again. And you know where it was? Right in front of a Seventh-day Adventist church. So we prayed again. And it took us right where we had to go, and we got everything taken care of. So it was like, whew, everything's good. So then we went again right before they had the conference. And so this time we went to the other strawberry patch. And that was pretty awesome. And I have a video on TikTok on that. And then we also went to a place that's like a hotel, like showing you the view of that waterfall. So it was pretty cool. So the two people up in the far left, the wife and husband, they're the founders. That's Zelda and Nelvin. Beautiful people. They lived here in the States for quite a while, in Texas, I believe, and they're both nurses. So they have a lifestyle center, which is pretty exciting because they have like the facility to be able to house people and to give treatment. So yeah, I have a special in my heart for that place. And so I will be going there in January 2026. They already got it ready and people are already signed up. So I'm excited coming back there to do that. The man that's in the middle with the mic there, that's the conference guy that's ahead of the literature evangelist. And the lady on the right, on the bottom there, was one of the ladies that decided that she needed to take like 30 days and just kind of like, yeah, she needed to take time off. And she had suffered with some health issues, and that was one of the best things, going to the strawberry patch, going to the waterfall, because when we went to the waterfall the second time, we took our lunch with us because we knew we were going to be gone for most of the day. And when we got into that water, there was these young people that were like, and I said, it's all in the mind, guys. It's all in the mind. And I'm like up to here. And I'm like, it's all in the mind, guys. It's all in the mind. And I'm in that water that's cold. And they're like, and I said, how long have you guys been here? An hour. I said, no, you guys need to get out, dry off, and put on some dry clothes, because that's a long time. So anyway, these are some of the guests that were there, some of the people that were there, and then that was a picture of everybody that was guests and some of the people that were trained. All right, so also when they had the Literature Evangelist Conference there, I spoke on health. There was a family that was staying in the same place I was, but they were like in the living area, and they were sick. They had 2 little kids. One was a baby. One was a little one that just kind of walked around a bit, and the husband and wife were sick. They're like, and I'm like, oh no, I cannot get sick. Oh Lord, please help me. So I kind of watched to see what was going on, and I went and I picked some herbs, and I told them what to do with them, and I gave them some echinacea golden seal. I squirted that in their mouth a few times in the day, and then the next day they were fine. So I'm very thankful for that. Yeah. And so I didn't get very many pictures of this. I don't know where they were. I don't know what happened to them. But this was some of the people right before they were getting ready to go, like a family, because they brought like their whole families too. And so quite a few of them there are literature evangelists. Then I went to Iloilo, which is another area. And this was a different location than I went to last time. And this one here was at a place that a lady put together. It's a school, like from 1 to 12th grade. Nice big school. Then they had a birthing center. birthing center, and then they had a physical therapy, and in between the physical therapy and the birthing center was a bigger area where we were going to have the meetings, but it was so hot, so we ended up going to one of the school rooms where it was air conditioned, and then we would eat in that hot area, which was fine. And so the ones that were there, all of them right there, they even had a welcome song. And I was very thankful when I went there because Zelda from Willow Farm was able to come. And then there was another lady named Rosie that I met and I heard about from one of my friends, Mona, about her. And so she went there to meet me, and she's starting a lifestyle center as well at her place. But I never got to go to her house, so maybe in January. But at any rate, so when we went there, they went to help me, so then that way I'd have a little help. And these guys had a little welcome song, which was kind of neat. And so this was their flyer that they put out, and they had a banner and everything. But when I was taking the flight there, this young man here sat next to me. What was so special about him was we started talking about health, and that led us to Christ. And that led us to the Sabbath day. And that led us to his girlfriend, that is a Seventh-day Adventist, that was sharing with him why Friday night to Saturday night is so key to life, because it's relationship building with the God that had created you. And so even though he wasn't dating her anymore, that was his ex, he found it just amazing to hear different things that I was doing there in the Philippines, and he was just really excited. And so then when we got to the airport, I got a picture with him and his family. So here we are, we're at Iloilo, and we're going to be doing a 10-day health thing there. This is both the people that went through the training as well as the people that are guests. Yeah, guests are there. And most of the guests came from a friend of mine. She was actually the cook that I had last year at a different location in Iloilo. And she was the cook again. And her daughter is the one on the far right. She's 14. And there should be a young man from Kenya. Is he in the picture? I don't see him. Well, anyway, we had a number of young people that were part of the training, and they were able to learn to give these treatments to the people that came in. And so these were a lot of stuff going on. We had 5 people or 7 people. They had stomach issues, they had hemorrhoids, they had back pain, they had IBS, they had asthma, they had sciatic nerve problems, they had goiters, one had breast cancer, another one had pain in the armpit and deltoid, another one had a UTI, another one had high blood pressure, and this is a kicker here. It was 188 over 100, and they were taking medicine. By the time they left in 5 days, it went down to 130 over 80 with no medicine. That's God. That's God. And then there was another person that had 160 over 110, and when they went home with no meds, it was 120 over 70. That's God. I'm just telling you, that's what God does, because he can do anything. And so we had people that had headaches, hip pain, and this one guy, he had this hip pain, right? So I told him, I said, walk this way and come back a few times. So he's walking. So I'm really getting an idea of what is going on, right? Is it because sometimes their hip is like this, so they're walking like that, or it's backwards or whatever. So I'm trying to get an idea of where and what is going on and what muscles are too tight or whatever. And so I put him on the table. I did a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and this and that, and this, the other thing, and had him go off. And he walked, he goes, oh, no pain. And he was like that for the rest of the whole week. So praise God for that. He felt so good, he went fishing after that. Then there was another guy that had lung problems where he was wheezing a lot. Another person was a pre-diabetic, we found out. And someone had, their eyes were really blurry. So some of these things were more than just one person had some of these things. So we also saw a guy named Moses that lived in a home nearby. And what happened to him was he was working 7 days a week. He was a Seventh-day Adventist, but he wasn't going to church anymore because he needed to make more money for his family and all of that. So, I don't know, he was working, I think, every day. And it was not easy work. He was lifting stuff and he's bending and, twisting and stuff. and he heard something in his back, and next thing you know, he was on his back. He couldn't move from like waist down, and he couldn't feel anything. He couldn't feel anything from waist down. And he'd been laying there in bed, and his wife started coming to the church, and found out. And so the women, the deaconesses, or women's ministry, they started going to the house, praying with him, and with the wife and the family and stuff. So they made that connection. And so they wanted me to go there to see if they could probably help him. So what ended up happening was, I told them some things that they could do. So in that week's time, he was able to actually feel. And so we told him, don't take any medicine, please. If you start feeling some pain, let us know so we can do some other stuff to get rid of that pain. And because the pain is good, because if you can feel pain, that means you're feeling, right? And with that pain means that there's blood coming into that area. So it's a good thing. So let's do it gently, so then that way we can truly help you. So that was exciting, because you have to understand this was only like 5 days. And so these are some of the people that were there. You can see my medical backpack, because that's one of the things that I always leave at the centers where I'm at. So then that way they have stuff that they can use to be able to do tests, to be able to have tools, to be able to do assessments and all of that. So if any of you have given in the past, you know that this is what we're doing, is we're helping to provide that. So then that way they have things. And so the two ladies that are down below there that are singing, those were my two helpers, Zelda and Rosie. And then the lady right above, the picture right above there, the second one on the right, the lady there, she was the cook. She was the one that also came with me when we went to Kenya for that camp meeting. And in the middle here, we had some guests, husband and wife, and that are standing up there on that side. And then in that top corner there, the man that's sitting down in the black, he was a guest. And then the guy that's way over on that last picture down here, the guy that's over there, and then the lady that's standing up there, I think that's her, husband and wife. They actually lived in Malaysia for many, many years, like 20 or 30 years. So they said, hey, would you like to go there? And I said, sure. So we'll see how that goes. So remember me. You get it set up and we'll figure it out. All right. So then after that, I went to Palawan. Now on TikTok, I've got over 10,000 hits when I was there in Palawan, because I couldn't say the word right. I was saying Palawan. I don't know. I don't even know what I was saying, but I knew it wasn't right because it didn't sound right, but I didn't know how to say it. And I think that's why I got so many hits, so many views. And so I went there for 1 week. And have you heard of Light Ministries? Light Ministries comes out of Wildwood. And so the guy that's ahead, like the director or whatever, over whole Asia, this is where he lives. So I'm working with Light Ministries at their campground, and it's called Lucas Health Camps. And so this was interesting because the bridge was out, and they had to drive in the water and come up and get back onto the road. When I left, we could not drive out. So we had to walk in the water with your suitcase, and then you go on a little sandy spot, and then you got to walk through the water again, and then you go up. So that was quite an adventure, and a lot of things happened there. But it was interesting because I didn't know what a nick-nick was. A nick-nick is a little bug that you don't even see, and they bite you 100 times. And I had all over my legs, I had these bites all over. I'm like, oh, I'd be eating, I'm like, oh, like what is this? But some ladies from Iloilo had given me some gifts. And so I'm putting this ointment on. And then the girl that's coming to help me, she's starting to get bit up. And she goes, this must be from the evil one, these bites. And I'm like, well, look at me. You know, and so I'm giving her some of my stuff, and I said, look, I can't have you use all of my stuff because I'm not done here yet in the Philippines. I've got another place to go or two. So anyway, I'm healed. But this was really like, out of all the places, and the training was so short, and there were not medical people, I'm like, Lord, help me, because one group didn't know what they were doing. And I was so afraid that the man would lose his leg because they were only there for like a one-day training. The only thing they got in on was hot foot bath. Like, oh, we give hot foot bath for everything. No! This guy comes in and I'm like, wait, what are you guys doing? Are you sure he needs a hot foot bath? Did you check his feet? Well, he can feel them. Wait, no! I don't care if he says yes. You need to check his feet to see if he can truly feel them. After they got done with that treatment, he went home. Oh no, that was not good. When he came back the next day, he had a big sore on his foot because he couldn't feel his feet. And he climbed up a big tree to get some fruit for us because he enjoyed the treatment from the day before and he just wanted to bring some fruit for us to say thank you. And I'm coming to the session. Well, his legs started turning a little darker than what I liked it to be. But he was okay. And I said, no more treatment on him. We've got to treat the sore now instead of really treating what we need to treat. But we'll do kind of both together. So anyway, he seemed to do very well. His cholesterol went down. His blood pressure was going down. And his diabetes seemed like it was getting back to the right numbers. But he had a host of issues. And I was just very, very concerned. So anyway, yeah. So this picture here, they have a vegetarian restaurant over by the hospital, and that's what that green picture is there. Then that other picture here, the guy that's in the tan shirt is the pastor of that church, and he also is like a chaplain at the hospital. And then that picture of that food there on the bottom right, does anybody know what that is?
Cheesecake.
It's cassava cake. Cassava cake. And they made it without sugar. They made it with honey. Just for me. They said, happy birthday to you. And it's not my birthday, but I'm like, okay, I'll take it. So I ate almost half of it. But anyway, so it was very nice of them to do that because they had chefs. They had a chef at their location, like a bakery chef or something. Oh yeah, another thing that happened was one of the guys that was doing the baking. So we were doing a cooking class. And so I don't know if they shut the thing off or what the deal was, but the guy was going to put the bread in or turn it on or something. And when he opened it up, and he got burnt. His face, his arm, and everything. And I'm like, we got to get this. And they already put flour on him. So he was like coated in white flour because that helps with it too. And we put cassava on him because cassava is wet and it felt good and it was kind of cool. So it kind of helped him a lot. But he had like second-degree burns. Not very good. And then the bottom middle picture there by that food, that we went to the conference because I want to go to the conference and I want to make sure that they know that we're in good standing. We're not with some offshoot or anything, that we're here to help. And so they were all excited about Light too, so we went there. Oh, I guess I got to go this way. Oh. And so here's a picture. Our first Sabbath, we went to the police station because every other Sabbath they go there, or every once a Sabbath per month they go there. And so we had a health talk and we talked about different things, and we also gave them massages while we were there, and we had like a little concert and sang for them. And they were very happy. It's the guys in the back, if you see me in the white there, the ones that are in those blue shirts back there are policemen. And let me tell you, their job, they stay there for hours. They don't go home because home is too far. And so they have long hours. And I'm like, whoa, this is not good, guys. We're talking about sleep here, and you guys are on duty. So, but because of the work that they do, they just can't. So anyway, then you will see the top picture is both trainees and health guests. And then down below is Lovely and myself with two of the health guests. And then this on the right bottom picture is our cooking class. That was the best cooking class I ever done. You know why? Because I didn't have to cook nothing. I gave them the recipes and I told them what we needed, and they got everything together, and all I had to do was dump it together and just kind of show how it goes, which was the best. And so, yeah, and it was really good. And the one guy, he was doing videos. And after we got done with that, because it was towards the end, we also had where we had like a little get together before everybody was leaving, and people started standing up and giving their testimony. You have to understand, this is a 5-day health retreat for the guests that are sick. And the one guy that had gout, do I have that on there? Yeah. Okay, so this guy had gout for 40 years. For 35 of those years, he could not work. His knees were messed up. You could see the bumps. His feet had these extra pads. And he come in with a little walker thing, little Hemi walker thing, and he's just trying to walk, trying to do what he can, right? And so when he gave his little testimony, I wish I had it in English, but he was like he's ready to run. And so that was really exciting. So we had some people there that had heart issues. The heart was swollen. They also had high blood pressure. Had another couple people that had high blood pressure. Another person had breast cancer. That was crazy because I had 3 ladies that was going to work with her. One was a nurse. Good thing I put her there. And the other 2. So we went in there in that little room to do what we were going to do. The 2 that were not medical, they left. And it was just me and the nurse. And so we're cleaning the breast because it was eaten up by the cancer. And so we had to clean it. We had to take care of that, and then also make sure that we're getting rid of the rest of the cancer that's there, and making sure that she doesn't have any pain. And she had like infection. It wasn't looking good. But in those 5 days, actually after a few days, it was really looking pretty good. And she was feeling a lot better, and the things that we were doing during the day and in the evening, the pain was pretty much alleviated and all of that. My only concern was she was a single parent, and she had a child that was 10, and I'm like, who's going to help her? And I just kept praying, Lord, who's going to help her? And the day that she left, there was like 8 people from her church that came. And I'm like, that's good support. And I said, are you guys just here to take her? No, we're going to help her when she's at home. So whatever you started, we're going to help her with it. And I'm like, I was so relieved to know. Because that's a long journey. It's a long journey. We had another guy that was in a wheelchair. He suffered from a stroke. Another guy, he wanted to have healing, but yet he was afraid because he was on dialysis, and everybody in his family died because they went on dialysis, and next thing you know, they died after about a couple years, and he's like, oh, yeah. And so I'm like, the reason why you're having a little issue with this is because of whatever medication you're on. What medication are you on? So I looked it up, and I said, okay, you said you have that problem? Well, this medication does exactly that. So I think it's your medication. So he left and then came back, and I'm thinking, I don't know, there's nothing more I can do for him. I mean, we're doing everything we can. He has to follow it. If he's not going to follow, you can't do both. You just have to go with one and just do it. And if he's not comfortable doing it, I don't want you to do it. You know what I mean? I don't want you to go on that route if you're not comfortable doing that. So anyway, so we had quite a few issues. It was a very touch and go one that a lot of prayer had to go on. Then my next site was in Zamboanga. It was out in the country. And I would tell people, oh yeah, I'm going to Zamboanga. And they were like, oh, aren't you afraid? And I'm like, afraid of what? I don't know anything about Zamboanga. I have no clue. I have no idea. Should I be afraid? Oh yeah, they didn't want to say anything. And so I'm like, okay, whatever that means. And then I'm like, yeah, I'm going to Salou. Oh, you must be really afraid to go there. I'm like, no, why? So anyway, what ended up happening was I went. It was great. And remember Chris that cooked at Iloilo? Well, Chris is related to the lady that owns this place. And Chris was going to be our cook there. So I'm like, okay. So they had this big banner out there. This is out in the country. And so then what ended up happening was we did a week training. And then for a few days, we're going to be in Salou and we're going to do some stuff there. We had over 40 people that were already missionaries that came for this training because it's medical. And so it was so phenomenal. They had a company, HBCB, whatever, and something, which is Adventist, that they do something like, they did like videoing all this stuff, and they made a really nice, a couple videos, 2 or 3 of them. And so I put them on my Facebook page, I posted them, and also on YouTube. So those were really, really nice. And then there was a young guy there that was from Hope. And so he did a few things too. And I was very thankful for that too. So these are just some pictures of them doing their training, learning how to do the cholesterol checks, how to do blood pressure checks, how to do some hydrotherapy treatment. And then we got these shirts that say, live, love, heal. And on the back it had your name with volunteer. And so these were the shirts that we were going to wear when we go to Salou on those 2 days that we were going to minister to the people there. And so when we got the island of Salou, now that was pretty interesting, that boat trip. I even put it on TikTok. But anyway, when we got to Salou, the pastor told me, he says, you're VIP. And I'm like, VIP? Why am I VIP? Because I had to go to a special place from the Navy to get clearance to take the boat to go to Salou and come back. And if you don't have your stuff to go to Salou, you're not going to get out of Salou. And so anyway, they call it a red zone, and a red zone means that it's like if you're a missionary or something, they'll probably kill you or cut your head off or take you hostage or whatever. So the young people that are there as missionaries there, they have to sign a contract that says, if you take me as a hostage, no one's coming to pay for it. No one's going to give you any amount of money. So you might as well do whatever you need to do with me, because no one's going to come for me because they're not going to bring the money. So to me, that's a real missionary. That means they're giving their life to the work that they're doing, that they're called to do. And the young man, Charles, I met him in December when I was at a hospital in Davao area, kind of like 6 hours or whatever. And his team, and they were the ones that were working at Salou. And they wanted me to come so badly. So I went. And you can see that the military was all around me because I was VIP, guys. They were going to make sure that I was going to be safe, because that's what they're about, is making sure that everything is safe. And so I really appreciated those guys. They were awesome. So we did the stations. So we had people in each station, and we were doing different things, whether they were breathing or whether we were giving them blood pressures or whether we were handing out medicines. And I was very thankful because there was 2 doctors, me and another guy, which was very good because, you know, when you're consulting with people and giving out stuff or doing stuff, it's good to have another doctor there to be able to do that. So we have fed the children one day, and that's the other doctor that was with me up there on the right. Beautiful place. When you look out, oh, it's just gorgeous, just a beautiful. And some people were giving massages, some people were cutting up some medication stuff that we needed or whatever. We were giving out, when I say medication, it was more like vitamin C and stuff like that. And then I got the opportunity to go to the military base. And up there where it says welcome, me and the guy, that's the captain. That's the guy that runs the place. And he was so excited to meet me. He said, next time you come, can you train my people here? So I'm like, wow, that's an honor. And then, so we got to go all around the island that day right before we left. Just a beautiful place. And got to go in the water a little bit. And it was like shallow for like, I don't know, long ways. And then it got a little deeper. But it was very nice. Very beautiful place. And this is all of us. This is all of us that went to Salou out of our 40 people, right? And we're there. We're there finishing up. So now, the last 3 weeks in Kenya, Eldoret. I love Eldoret. It's a beautiful place. It's cool. It's not hot like here. So when I came back here, I'm like, 90-some degrees. Oh my goodness, I'm cooking here. And so I kind of got acclimated to that cooler weather because of the altitude, right? All right, so my team, for 1 week we did a camp meeting, and then 1 week we did where people came to where we were. And the team that flew with me was Mona Daly, the lady on the left there, and then Laura Cross and myself. Now, Laura is a retired nurse. And I met her at Country Life. She came to UG Pines, and she started working at Country Life because she wanted to know more about how to do natural stuff. So we got to know each other. And Mona, I knew Mona since she was going to the church here on Macon Road. Mona has been a real, true sweetie. She's very loving, very kind, very giving, and very good. She went through the courses at UG Pines, and she would say, "Oh, Julie, I don't really know much." And I said, "No, you do, Mona. You went through the LE and the LC, the lifestyle counselor, the lifestyle educator programs. You know this stuff." "But I've been on the farm for so long." "No, but it'll come back. Don't worry, I put some little protocols together." Remember in the beginning I said I don't like protocols? Well, I put these protocols together because I wanted to help my team out a little bit so that it would be quicker, so we could see more people and be able to do right. But you have to understand, there's a language barrier. Even in the Philippines, there's a language barrier. And when there's a language barrier, that means it's going to take twice the time because you have to have an interpreter. And sometimes you're not hearing everything that you need to hear and understand what's really going on. So down below, we have gotten material from the group that was the singers, the special choir from the Republic of Congo. So we made dresses or skirts with the material. So you can see them down below. Mona has her dress on. Laura has her skirt on. I have my dress on. And Chris has her dress on. So we had dresses made. Because I told them, I said, look, they're giving us material. Let's just get dresses made or something. So we did. So I had shirts for us to wear, the light blue and then also the green ones. So then that way we had shirts on so, we looked like we were together, right? And so the girl in the middle that's next to me, between me and Laura there, that girl had come to me our first day because one of the head guys from the conference office brought her to me. And she's going to school for nursing. And so she was going to be doing her clinicals, I believe. And so she, her name was Abby, she said that she wanted to help. And I said, okay, fine. So the sad thing is she didn't know how to do blood pressure, like manually. You just put the cuff on and you just push the button, right? Because she doesn't have one. So I gave her one of those blood pressure cuffs with a stethoscope because she's going into nursing in the health profession. So she needs that. And so she said, oh, I don't want anybody to know that I don't know how to do that. And I said, let me show you how it's done. So the other little girl that was baptized from the time before, she was also on the team. And so she already knew how to do blood pressures. I think I might have told you that when she said she wanted to be a medical missionary doctor like me, she said, oh, I'm so excited, I want to do what you do. And so I showed her how to do blood pressures because I gave her one when she got baptized. And when she went home, after teaching her how to do this, she went home, she did it on her mom and dad, she did it on people around her, and she found out that her neighbor had a really high blood pressure. It was like 150 over 100 or something like that. And so she said, oh, just take some deep breaths, drink this water, stress, you have to figure out how to release that stress and blah, blah, blah. And so she's telling the lady to breathe and to drink this water, and she checked the blood pressure again, it was 120 over 80. When she told me that, I said, man, you're the best little doctor I know. Like, how do you know that? Well, you taught me. And I'm like, oh, okay, I taught you. Okay, I don't remember saying all those things, but if you said so, okay, God taught you, God showed you, right? So I was happy that she was there, and she really helped Mona a lot with giving interpretation. So that was really good. And so this was the stage inside the huge tent that held I don't know how many thousands of people. And so I did talks on health because I was one of the main speakers. And so there's Charity right next to me and another little girl and then Abby. And so anyway, that was our team, and we were excited about having these young people work with us. Now, let me share another thing with you before I go. Yeah, okay, right here. Remember I told you to remind me of the ambassador thing? Well, those young boys that went to that ambassador class, they told their father and mother how much they really liked me and the things that I talked about because it was real life stuff. Like, how do you get through certain circumstances or situations in life, right? And so the mother and father came over to the guest house where I was staying, and he said, we need to talk to you. And I said, okay. And he says, I'm Pastor so-and-so, and blah, blah, blah. So we went out, and I met his wife outside there by the car and his other two kids, because there was like 3 boys, I believe it was 3 boys. And he says, my son was going to school, and he's in his clinic. He's doing his clinicals, or maybe he was finishing. Yeah, I think he's in his clinicals or finished his clinicals. PA program, physician's assistant. And I was wondering if he could help you during this week that you're going to be here. And I said, sure. I'm like happy for it. Yeah. Because if I need anybody to interpret and he's already in the medical field, yes, of course. You can follow me. You can shadow me. Whatever you would like to do, you can come with me. So they were all excited, very happy. And I found out that he didn't have a blood pressure cuff or a stethoscope. So thank you, Julius, that we ordered those extras when we did. So I gave him one too at the end because he's going to need that. These people need these things. They need that stuff. So I was just happy that I had it to give. And so, so that was pretty awesome. Now, these are just some of the choir people, but we realized they in Congo were not used to cold weather. Eldorette was going through winter season and it was cold. I only brought one pair of shoes. Guess what shoes I took? Yeah, my Crocs. That's the only shoe I had. And I'm thinking, what was wrong with me? Like, you need some more clothes. Like, did I bring a coat? No, I never even brought a coat. I mean, you should have told me. It rains, it's cold, it's freezing, like, okay. And I'm thinking, well, at least I bought some socks. I brought a few pairs of socks. And so we had to go on a Sunday morning, my team and I, because we didn't have the proper clothing. We went out and we bought coats. I got a really nice coat. I don't even know how much it cost, maybe a few dollars. I don't know. We went to this place and we're trying on stuff, and I'm like trying on these pants to wear underneath my skirts and shirts. I had to buy a shirt. Oh my goodness, it was just ridiculous. So we had to go out and buy stuff, because we were in need ourselves of clothing. And so I felt kind of bad for the Congo choir because they didn't have stuff either. And my jacket coat that I wear that zips up, that I got from Alaska, that I wear all the time, I miss it a lot. I ended up giving it to one of the girls to wear that morning because she was freezing and I never got it back. Oh my goodness. Anyway. It's fine. But anyway, they got sick. And they had to sing like 12 songs a day at that big camp place. You know what a tent meeting is like when it's cold? It's cold. And you're in a tent. And it's raining. Most of the time it's raining. And these guys didn't have anything. And this one girl, I felt like she was like my daughter. But she had some stuff going on. She had cysts and fibroids and all of that. And I'm thinking, girl, we got to do something for you. So I ended up doing some stuff each night. Gave her a hot water bottle to take because I like those eternal waters. You know, they kind of like this. Filled it up with hot water, gave it to her so that way she could use it on the bus or while they're sitting down when a different choir is singing, that she could at least put it in her lap to kind of help. And then doing the treatments, oh, praise God, she felt so much better. And some of them, one guy, he was a pharmacist. And he's like, and he's singing. We're like, look, this is our advice. When you go up to sing, do not use your voice. Just, you know, and do that for like a day or so, and let us help you get your voice back. So we were treating him, and he couldn't believe the simple remedies we did on him and how well it helped. And so we were telling him hot and cold shower, you know, do that. And he did it. And he's a pharmacist, and he's like, wow, that's amazing. And then there was a little girl, the one that was three of us there, the little girl down below in the red, 12 years old. Her mom and dad are not even with her. She's with this choir called Family. I think that's what it's named. And she has a powerful voice. That little girl had a powerful voice. But they were getting sick, their throats were getting hurt, and they had a lot of health issues. I'm not even going to go there. But they had a lot of stuff. I put a few things there, tumors, high blood pressure. Even one lady found out that she was diabetic. She fell out. Oh yeah, and when we had the camp thing, they had these tents lined up, and they were going to put us at the end, and they were going to have these other hospitals here first. And Mrs. Rono, I told her what was going on, and she said, oh, don't worry about it. So she talked to the head guy from the conference, says, no, 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 no. We are the head, not the tail. They need to go first, and they're going to see more people than all these hospitals. And sure enough, we saw 700 people that week. And we didn't even really start until like Tuesday or Wednesday. You know what I'm saying? And there was one group that was not too far from us. They saw quite a few people too, but what they were doing was they were checking for glucose. They were weighing people, checking how high they are. So, of course, people were going to want to go there. Hello. But we had always a group of people waiting. And this one lady kept going, Dr. Julie, you need to be done. See all these people here? They're here to see you. And I said, look, I can't go any faster than when I'm going. And some of the people, I'm like, I've got to give them a treatment besides so they know what to do. You know? So it was crazy. And the little kids came. And Laura says to me, she goes, I know why you wanted Chris to come from the Philippines. I said, why? Because she's taking care of us. She's cooking for us. She's making sure that we have good food. And you know what Chris did? Oh my goodness. I don't know how she did all of that. But anyway, where we were staying was the Adventist Resort Guest House. And she would go into the kitchen, and she was helping the cook there. And the cook was pregnant. I think she's going to have her baby probably any time now. And she was sharing with her some of the recipes and giving her some of the food to eat. And she was excited. And Chris even gave her a massage. After that massage, that lady was so happy. She probably needed it. I mean, you know how hard it is to cook, and you're carrying these big pots and all of that? Yeah. And so anyway, I mean, they're feeding that whole choir. I don't know, there's a lot of people in that choir. You just saw like 1/3 of it maybe of them. But yeah, Chris was doing that. Her and I was given the most treatments, plus counseling. The other two were doing mainly the counseling. So when we went to the guest house, those two, Mona and Laura, did the counseling, and Chris and I did all the treatments. So it was pretty amazing. Even the little kids came. So one day we went to this lifestyle center called Start Anew. Start Anew. The husband is a surgeon. The wife is a lawyer, and she also is a nutritional counselor, nutritionist something. And so they have this place called Start Anew. And so I was there once before, and beautiful people. And the choir comes, well, I don't know if they're choir, but it's the medical students at Moyer, M-O-I, University. And the medical students every Saturday evening come to the Lifestyle Center and sing for the guest. And so this was Saturday night. And so we were able to meet with them and also the guests, to see the guests and stuff. So that was pretty nice. And then the second week when we had the people come to the guest house, we had a number of people come. And this one lady, she had her ear wrapped around, and I'm like, ooh, I'm taking a look at that. I'm like, I haven't seen anything like this before. I'm thinking, what is going on here? Like, and then we started talking, and then she took it down and she showed me that, you know, when they get holes in their ears like that, they put like a log or something in there. I mean, it's something big and heavy, and I guess that's why it droops like that. That's the first time I saw that, especially wrapped around her ear, because I've never seen anything like that. So I'm like, okay. That's why she's probably laughing, because I'm like, okay. But it was just a joy to be able to help the people, because that lady was not young either. But to be able to help with whatever was going on. And that lady there with the poultice around her neck, we put that poultice on. She came back 2 days later, and we did it again. And in those 2 days, I already saw a difference. Because it was huge. It was huge. All right. Now, I don't know if this is going to work. So the last few days when we were in Nairobi, I saw 2 other patients. I had to go to someone's house. It was like 45 minutes from where I was staying there in the city. And we got out there, and the lady had, I think she had AIDS, HIV/AIDS, and some other issues that were going on. So we went to the house, and I prayed with her. I shared some scripture with her, and shared some things that they could do. And actually, I was in touch with them a few weeks ago, and she's doing better. So praise God for that. So we also went to Marsa Marara, to see the tribe. These are the ones that jump high. Well, I didn't see them jump that high, okay? But they're the ones that go out and they will kill a lion. They're brave, but they can't do that anymore because they have to preserve the animals, right? In the safari. So anyway, if this works, okay, so I drove that motorbike, of course, I'm going to do these things. I drove the motorbike. They're like, "Oh, you can drive it?" I said, "Yeah, I can drive the motorbike." So I got on the motorbike and I drove a little bit and I came back and they're like, "Wow." So anyway, we had a little tour with the tribe and stuff. And if this thing clicks on that, you'll see them saying it's either a welcome or a thank you. They do something like this, I don't know. The lady right there, when it was our turn, she took me by the hand and she had me go around with them. She put that jewelry thing around my neck, and the boy put a thing around me. And then I met her husband, and I think she's only 40 and she has 5 kids. At age 40, 5 kids. Well, I guess that's not that many. My mother at 42 or 43 had 17. Okay. So anyway, this guy on the right is a doctor. He's not even an Adventist, but he stays at the Adventist guest house a lot. And he's such a busy guy that he has he's trying to put a new hospital together and surgery and da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And I said, I know somebody that might be interested in that surgery part. Who do you think it is? Our one and only, Dr. Hardin. So I hope that they got in touch with each other. But this guy is a busy guy. He's going to be traveling around the United States, going to different conventions and different things. But he has 200 people that are working for him or with him. And he's putting together a hospital or something. And so, very interesting young man. I mean, he's even on the board or something for the Association of Miss World. Miss World? Not Miss Universe, but Miss World now or whatever. Yeah, so he's the doctor on staff that helps them with their nutrition and their health stuff or whatever. So anyway, I thought that was very interesting. So we would see him. He saw my shirt that said medical staff, and so he came over and joined us after we were eating and we were talking and stuff. So we met with him a few times, and he was so kind that he took us even into the city to kind of, walk around or whatever. And so that was really nice. And so I'm supposed to be going to the Amen conference coming up in October, same time that we're having our big thing here. And then 2026, I'll be going back to the Philippines and also Southern Asia. I don't have all my stuff planned out yet, so I'm just letting God do that or whatever he wants me to do. Maybe I won't even go to any of these places. All I know is that when God calls and I pray about it and I see the need and God says, "You must go," I go. Because there's people that need help. And so if you want to help, you can either Zelle, Cash App, donate through those ways, or I do have some envelopes. I forgot them in the car, like I forgot the E on the end of the word envelope. And so, again, we need medical strips. I do plan on going in June, I think it will be. I'm being bold now. In June, I'm going to be doing a medical missionary trip with a couple young people from here and their parents. And we're going to be going to Guyana. Guyana, yeah. And so we're going to be there for about 3 weeks or so. So we're going to be doing some fundraising for that as well. So it'll be interesting. It'll be fun just to be able to help the people, whether it be in the community here or around the world. And I think that's what it's all about, is to really help people, yes.
Next to Venezuela. So they get a lot of refugees now from Venezuela.
Interesting. People, when I went to Colombia, the people from Venezuela was walking across the border. And our church that I went with from Ann Arbor, what we did was we bought a lot of stuff at a big, huge warehouse place or whatever, like Sam's Club and Costco. And we had 7 carts full of stuff, and we put bags together to feed a family of 4 for about 4 days. And then we gave money to the different places, like the Adventist churches that were feeding people that had soup places. And you would see tons of people, and they would only let 100 people come across the border. It's a sad thing. And then the first place that we went to that we did a little health thing, there was a girl there, and her parents were still in Venezuela, but they told her to leave to go across the border. And I was so touched, like, I'll adopt you, you know what I mean? Because she was young, and then when I found out that there was other people there that, you know, they were already took her in and all of that, so I felt good about that. But it's a sad thing to see the people, especially Venezuela, man, a lot of corruption going on. And we know that that means that Jesus is coming soon. So whatever we're going to do, we need to make sure that we're living a purposeful life. And when God calls us with skills and stuff, He's calling us to do a work. And so I'm thankful for the opportunity to be able to do that. And I'm just thankful for the church here and for all the people that have come out and to share some of this stuff with you. I kind of forgot some of the stuff because it's been a little while. But anyway, thank you so much for your support and most of all your prayers. Those kids, the kids from the school, I tell everybody, I've got prayer warriors. I got lots of prayer warriors. I got these kids at the school. I've got my church people that are praying. And I said, you know, nothing is impossible with God. So when people come to me with a hard issue, I say, well, you know what? It's not hard for God, so we can take it to Him and just see what He's going to do, because He can do anything. I've seen it too many times. You know, He makes things straight when they're crooked. And so I'm very thankful for that. And I thank each and every one of you for your support, your prayers, and for all that you do. Even you guys on Facebook, thank you too for just being there. Even the places that have asked me to come, I'm thankful that I have a place to go, and your support of putting me up, feeding me, and being able to help in whatever way I can. So thank you so much. I guess we can have a word of prayer to close it out. Heavenly Father, we just want to say thank you. You've been such a good God, and you are showing up, letting people know that there is a God in heaven that does care, and that you are willing to do whatever it takes in order to save us. So Father, whatever it is for our journey for us to be saved, because your coming is soon, I pray that you would prepare us to be ready for that. We thank you, Father, for your love and mercy. We thank you, Father, for the people that are banding together to help others. We just want to give you praise, honor, and glory, for it's in Jesus' name. Amen.